It's been 10 months for me since I've started the semen retention journey, and I can definitely say I've learned so much about myself and so much about growing closer to the source of creation during this time. But what I really want to talk about today and what I want to focus on in regards to semen retention is how your presence becomes so much more powerful. And the reason that your presence becomes powerful is because you are not like any other person walking this planet. When you truly sexually discipline yourself, and when you truly have an understanding of what it means to be disciplined and what it means to not give up in your retention journey, and just to not give up in life in general. But you might find that making eye contact with people is not always advantageous when you are on semen retention. And you might also find that people seem to be like sorry a lot more. At least that's something I've noticed, especially within the first like 3 weeks of the semen retention. I noticed I got a lot of people more like staring at me more, just feeling more energized in my body and everything like that. I just like you would walk into a room and it was like you are, even if you're not saying a word, you are the unspoken alpha of the room. And I mean that in a very meticulous way. I don't want that to sound cringe, but that's really just the way it is. I mean, I've had guys at the gym that are like really solid dudes. You know, they are 210 pounds, 250 pounds of muscle, and they're like apologizing to me for getting in my way. And so something I realized, I was like, why? Like, I've never gotten this kind of respect from men before. I've never gotten this kind of respect from these kinds of men before. This is very strange. And the thing that I think it comes down to is just there's a sense of awareness of your sexual discipline, and that has also transpired in multiple areas of your life. And so women will also, depending on if they're worldly or not, will also notice this. It's your words have more weight, and you can actually make a genuine connection that is more pure and more true. It's as if you are building your relationship on the foundation of creation itself. You are building your relationship between people on the rock of creation itself. Because when you are able to retain and to hold, your magnetism increases. This is you might find waves of random financial gains as well on this journey. You might find waves of women where they're just coming at you. They're literally throwing themselves at you. I'm to the point now to where there were certain girls that were throwing themselves at me in such a way that I just had to look at them and shake my head, because I didn't want to say anything. I didn't need to say anything, and I was just not interested in them, because they're not the kinds of girls that I would take seriously. And so a lot of the times your presence will become magnified as well. It's, for me also, I've noticed my walk and just this kind of masculine swagger that I've developed, where it's very natural now. Like, it's a very natural thing. And it's not that I am being boastful in what I'm doing or how I'm walking. It's just I am being authentically me in my masculine form. And that feels very good, that for a guy that never had that really growing up, that always felt a bit more feminine temperamentally. It's nice to step into that masculine power and to feel the rawness. Like, there's just this raw masculine quality that you have when you retain, and everybody knows it. Like, everybody can sense it, and you are just going to do things a lot more naturally now, and you're going to reap the rewards. Absolutely in these 10 months, specifically in the last 2 months, I've had, I'd say 3 months, I suppose, I've had more attention from like really attractive women than I've ever had in my entire life. Now, I'm still lifting weights. I'm still going to the gym. I'm changing up my diet now. I'm changing a lot of different things. I'm changing my lifestyle. And this is another way that semen retention allows you to reshape and reform your identity, because you become your authentic self. You become something more. And a lot of people that are not on semen retention, who we're going to call normies or depleted coomers, we are not even going to acknowledge them and what they have to say about this anymore. Because, look, I've been doing this for 10 months. There's been nothing but improvement in my life. And really, do you want to be the guy that watches corn? I don't want to say the word on here because I don't want the algorithms to switch up too much right now, but because I've been noticing my YouTube channel hasn't, like, for some reason, isn't getting as many views right now. And I don't know what's going on with the algorithms. I don't know if anyway, it's a weird thing. So I'm going to try to be more careful in what I say, because I believe that what I have to say is very important to a lot of men out there, and to any women that are very interested in this topic as well. This is a channel that doesn't really have a set niche on what I talk about. Like, I am a diversified individual. If I had any kind of topic of interest, I guess you could say, to the people, it would be improving self-respect and empowering people to prosper through self-improvement. But that's really, I don't want to limit myself. In one of my other recent videos, I said that it's best to remain undefinable, and I live by that. So, with that being said, I'll carry back on to semen retention in your presence. So, this is also something that I've noticed with the eye contact, is like your eyes have a certain kind of life in them again. And this is something that a few women have pointed out to me. Like, they've looked into my eyes, and one said that they were almost hypnotized by looking into my eyes. And then the other 2 or 3, just, they were bewildered looking into my eyes. And they just said, "Your eyes." Like, it was like they were captivated in some way. And again, this has never happened before semen retention. Like, like women have commented that I've had beautiful eyes in the past, but they haven't been like hypnotized or bewildered or just like zoned in all the way with my eye contact. But this is another thing that you develop in semen retention, is that you do become bold as a lion. Like eye contact used to be a really big thing for me. And as far as like not being able to do it, and now like no problem. I can maintain a strong, steady eye contact with anybody I come into contact with. Anyone. It doesn't matter who it is. Like those guys that are 210, 250 pounds of muscle at the gym, like I can look them directly in the eye as a man while we're talking and be just fine and not intimidated at all. And I would have been in the past because I was a scrawny, weak mofo that was really insecure with himself. But this is another thing that happens on semen retention, is that you naturally develop this inner confidence that is undeniable to the people around you. You don't even have to say a word. You really don't. I don't say shit when I go out, hardly ever. I'll give people a nod of acknowledgement. I'll ask them how they're doing if I happen to like the person, but for the most part, I stay absolutely silent. And I don't like talking too much. I'm more of a guy that if I have something to say, it's going to be through the will of God. Otherwise, silence is my teaching. Silence is my teacher. So, with that being said, the further that you go on this path, like I think other than a few different kinds of YouTubers out there, I don't know anybody that's gone 10 months on the semen retention. And like, I'm not saying that makes me better than anybody. I'm just saying that I've seen different aspects of my life change rapidly just for being able to transmute my sexual energy in certain ways. And going back to the corn thing, like, do you really want to watch the corn? Like, do you really want to be the guy that, like, gets off quick to other people having intercourse? Like, that's just not... Like, when I realized what I was doing when I used to watch corn, and I haven't watched corn for probably since October or September of 2021. So it's been a year and a half since I stopped. And like, yeah, I had a couple relapses in between that and then last May. But for the most part, like I said, 10 months now on this journey. And you know, there's tons of things to talk about on this topic. There's tons of things to talk about in regards to attraction, in regards to dreams and the kind of dreams that you'll have, the kind of experiences that you'll accumulate and will occur with you and in you. There's just so many different things that change, and you just have this level of purity about you that wasn't necessarily there before. And that level of purity is something that not a lot of people have. If you'll notice, a lot of these promiscuous people, whether they're men or women, they have this aura of kind of like dirtiness about them. It can be very seductive, but there's not a lot of purity to it. right? And on semen retention, you will become seductive naturally, like just by being who you are. But it's not necessarily like the bad boy seductive type. It can be, it can be like there were some women that I wouldn't say they viewed me as a bad boy. It was more like a good guy that is capable of being bad. And they liked that. Like, and they do like that still. Like, it's definitely prevalent. So it's really interesting to just see that dynamic and to see the changes throughout this last 10 months, and to see that I'm just a completely different man than I was 10 months ago. And the way that I think is different. I'm not really thinking about sex as much. I'm not thinking about wanting to get with women all the time. Like, it is a natural thing for me to see the relationship dynamics between men and women, but because I think it's a really interesting topic, just relationships in general. But I don't necessarily see myself as like, what I used to do is like, oh my gosh, like you're practically drooling over women. That doesn't happen on semen retention. And when you're on semen retention, after like 14 to 30 days, I would say, like I tell people after 14 to 21 days, if you're not seeing results, just stop if you want to stop. Just do it, because you may not be doing it for the right reasons, and you may not be doing it for the sake of actually wanting to grow closer to who you are as an individual. So your presence, again, will become magnified. It's like you walk into a room, and with each step, people can they can smell it. Like women can smell it. Like your scent is that of testosterone and calmness, man. Like that is what semen retention does. So with that being said, I hope this video was informative to the men out there, and for any women that are interested in this phenomenon, specifically with men. I wouldn't say that obviously you can't do semen retention as a woman, but you can be celibate, and you can choose not to watch porn, and you can choose not to play with yourself. I don't recommend anybody to play with themselves. Like, if you're going to participate in those kinds of actions, then why not do it with somebody else? That's just my take. You don't have to do that. You can do what you want, but know that God's going to cut you down one way or another. And so my fear is with the Lord, for me, with God, with Jesus. Like, that's who I'm most afraid of, and what I'm most afraid of. But also I'm afraid most of displeasing the will of God. That's another thing that I've learned on this presence, in this presence of semen retention and growing closer to God, is that I don't want to disappoint my ancestors and everything that they've had to endure, because I wanted to, I wanted to please my fleshly desires. But they didn't fight. They didn't fight tooth and nail every day just for me to play with myself to corn, So there's bigger and better things to worry about in this life. There's bigger and better things to do, apart from chasing anybody, and apart from watching corn, and apart from thinking about women all the time. But women are nice, and semen retention is a gift from God. So, with that being said, Till next time, peace be with you.